Hey everyone, Lisa Haverly here, Nature Superhero Network. Shout out to you all. I hope you're all doing well. It is a beautiful summer evening here in Wisconsin. Thank you, Sherry Graves, for responding to a post in the Facebook group with the question of what's the difference between enrichment and skilled OT? Great question. And I think, a big question as we are always trying to figure out these nature-based therapists that I know, what is it that we are actually doing when we are supporting children, let's say outdoors in nature, right? And I remember 10 years ago when I first started my nature-based business and thinking, well, I guess I'll just depart from my OT skills because I want to do groups. I see a need here in my community where I want to give children access to a typical summertime activity, and I want to do camps for kids. And so I guess I can't call it OT, and so it will be enrichment. And so that's what I went with for a few years until I did a little more digging at AOTA, looked up population scope of practice, and then really did some reflection on what is it that I'm doing. And it was so hard within these enrichment groups to take off my OT hat. I was adapting, I was modifying, I was working on skills, I was working on self-regulation, self-awareness, mental health, developmental motor skills. And so I've kind of rethought. I went through this whole process of rethinking about what exactly am I doing. And so now I call what I'm doing therapeutic nature camps. They have intention, they have group goals, because, friends, this is what I want you to think about. And maybe it's a paradigm shift a bit, but again, I'm drawing from information from AOTA that instead of saying, is this OT? Instead, we need to expand our horizons as therapists and ask the question, can occupational therapy meet this need? That is what OTs do. We are a holistic profession. We can support individuals, groups, or populations in accessing engagement to meaningful occupation. And so that can look many different ways, of course. But when we are thinking about nature and the outdoors, perhaps you are removing a barrier so that children can experience nature. Maybe you are providing an opportunity for children who might not otherwise have access to a group format, to a social opportunity. Because remember, we work on more than just the physical body. We also support social emotional for those that we serve. So I want you to think bigger on how we can use our OT skill set to support not just people at the individual level or even small group therapy, but at the population and community level. And of course, I'm a cash-based business, so I can frame my business in a different way. I don't have to be dictated by insurance, so you do have to think about your business framework. Always check your standards of practice in the state in which you are practicing. But I really want you to think about, instead of saying, what do I call this? Is this OT? I want you to think about, can occupational therapy meet this need? But let's go back to enrichment. For me, enrichment is about not really introducing any new skills. It might be a review of skills, but we aren't really looking at providing any kind of intervention per se. It is a review of skills, it's an opportunity, and it's an experience, and not that it's not valuable, but perhaps you are not looking at it from that OT lens, okay? That you know that play in nature is important, and that's the opportunity that you want to provide. However, I think when we're thinking about this as a business, okay, I don't know why you wouldn't want to show the value of your OT skill set and saying, I'm going to meet this need in my community using my OT skills. Now, I know what you're thinking. It gets a little hairy when we look at how do we bill it, right? And so who's the funding source and what are the requirements of that? But I want you to think about what our role is as a holistic profession. Okay, we aren't just meeting individual needs anymore. We can expand and look at how we can meet the needs of whole populations and groups of people. And so That's my take, but this is a one-sided conversation. I never claim to know everything. I would love to hear how you define enrichment and what you're doing in your nature-based work. So respond with questions, comments. I would love your feedback, because this is where I've arrived with my therapeutic nature camps, that indeed I am doing occupational therapy with group goals, because I haven't been able to take off that OT lens. I am adapting, I'm modifying, I'm working on skills. And so for me, my therapeutic nature camps are indeed occupational therapy. What do you think? I'd love to hear from you. I do hope to see you down the road. Thanks everybody. Hit the like button if you're so inclined. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.